Have you guys either of you ever worried about being typecast in Hollywood? Kiandra, I know you're new as far as like the Hollywood element. You've been in the business, but hit show empire. Do you worry about being typecast? Like, I'll only get this kind of role. Same to you, Trevor.
I've thought about it. I thought about, just like, oh, would I only get the chill, like, girl that meditates, or she's just real calm? Like, would I ever get any roles that are just way outside of myself? Mm-hmm. But I think I just kind of would want to put the intention out. If I feel like I want a role that's, challenging for me, then I'll just put that intention out and just attract it, manifest it.
Manifestation.
You got to have your power. You can't let everybody else control your life. It's like.
So Trevor, how was it for you being in Superfly, playing Superfly?
That was cool. It's so funny because people really will meet me and think I'm like that. It's so hilarious, and I'm definitely not. You see me, I'm like, funny all the time. We're just like, dude, I'm 23. People are like, I thought you were 30. It's fun. It's fun because it's like, it's crazy now in the acting world because people are like so stickler on, how much people are like the role, but I feel the purpose of acting is to be something different. That's why you would be acting it. Yes. So it's just kind of interesting how people view that. But for me, I definitely don't like playing the same roles. I mean, I know there's a few things that have been, come my way, and they've been the football player, the basketball player, or the rapper. And I'm just kind of like, I don't want to do that anymore. Like, I did that for a period of time. But again, I like seeing Black people in other roles. And it doesn't even have to be another role crazy. Just like, it could be anything. It could be anything. Just human stories are the stories that I'm like attracted to. But just speaking about being Black in Hollywood, I remember when I was young, I was probably like 17. And I was auditioning for something, and the casting director told my manager, she was like, obviously I can't say who it is, but she had told my manager, she was like, yo, like, Trevor had the best read out of everybody, but I was in the room and they were saying they already had a Black lead, and they can't have like 2 Black leads.
That's the most frustrating thing about this city, where it's like there's no, if there's more than one white talented person in a film, that's fine. But with Black people, it's Black projects. It's always so complicated. There's got to be a white savior a lot of times. We can only have one Black star. When it's comedians, only like 2 can be popping at the same time. It's so frustrating. There can be one bald hot guy, one girl with braids. It's like these extra rules, an extra layer of bullshit when it comes to Black Hollywood. And that's how frustrating is that for y'all? Because to know that you have the best read, and I'm sure that's not the only time that's happened to both. I'm sure both of you have been in that position where you may not even know that you had the best read because you didn't get the role. And you get it because we already have one that kind of looks like you.
I think the worst part of it is when we accept those things. So we see that we're not getting roles, or we see that it's always just one Black lead, or, it's one comedian, it can't be 2. And then we accept those things, and then we start to look at each other as competition.
That's the worst.
It's that. We start to look at each other like competition, and it's like, how about we take our gifts and let's go over here and try to do as much as we can and create our own things. And I see people doing it more now, where we're trying to create lanes. Yeah.
I feel like too, in some other cases, I was watching on Netflix the new show Black AF, new show. And they were just talking about certain stuff, and I'm like, "Yo, this is like some deep stuff they were talking about on here."
It's in the mind.
It's like real, and it's crazy because there was one episode, and me and my homie had talked about it, and that's why she was telling me to watch it, because I had been talking about it for like the past week, and me and Kenny have never talked, and then I saw the episode, and it was just about how we some white people may feel like they can't really say anything about a movie if it's an all-Black cast, because that means they don't feel that means they're like trying to it's almost racist if they try to criticize that. And then he's like, but then we don't do it to each other, so then sometimes we just accept anything because it is an all-Black thing. I was just like, yo, this is deep. It was a mind. You gotta watch it.
Yeah, it's a lot to it. It's a lot to it.
Shows that make you think like that kind of point out hypocrisy and fairness and lack thereof. I like things like that make you think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I saw Black Twitter making a big, like, talking so much trash about Black as AF.
I loved it.
The criticism was it's supposed to be Black as AF, but everybody was light skinned, and that was the focus. It was just on the surface level. But like to hear that
But that's what she just said. She just said we always got something to say. She was like,
I was about to say, isn't it the point to not? I don't want to say point the finger, but aren't we supposed to band together and look at what's happening?
Should we be like it's black people or because again, watch if it was all darker skin cast and they find something to say, I'm just like, yo, why can't we just be like, yo, we have a show, they're all black, and people were complaining the fact that he was rich, and I'm like, you don't like seeing black people rich? You don't like seeing black people. It doesn't.
You gotta pick one.
It doesn't feel home. It doesn't feel real enough, or because of the brainwash that they've done to you about you. Mm-hmm. You've accepted, like you were just saying. And now when I see something that doesn't match that, that's not real. That's not being real to black people.
Right.
It's talking about black people that have money. You know what I'm saying?
Instead of applauding and being inspired.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's frustrating that we like the stereotypes that we don't like that they make about us. And then we don't embrace like other shades of blackness. Like that we're not all struggling, grew up in these certain situations. Like there's black kids that grew up in a very wealthy household. There are black folks that vacation in Martha's Vineyard. There's black folks that speak a certain way. That doesn't mean they're trying to be white. I really hate when we equate being educated with sounding white. It's such an insult to educated black folks that why is education considered being a white trait and not a black
yeah. I'm telling you, it's brainwashed, believing in the Kool-Aid. You're drinking the Kool-Aid,
right?
And the best thing you can do to people that you don't like is make them hate themselves, make them not think that they're like good, and if they don't believe in, and it's literally comes back to even the individual in life. That's the only thing that can keep you from doing anything is if you think that you can't do it.
Right. And then you point the finger and chastise everybody else for being something that you feel like you can't be or doing something that you feel like you can't do.
Make that switch. Actually, it's like me when I serve. I'm typically the only black person in the water. You know what I'm saying? But it's just that's like another thing. Is like I would have never thought I could or believed I could surf until I got out there and did it. And you know what I'm saying? So it's a very, very packed thing. This is a good concept, and I think this is something that we need.
I'm happy every time I see a black show get greenlit because I know how hard it is for it to happen.
Period. But we all do. Don't we all know how difficult it is? And it's like we still sometimes will drag things through the mud. Why?
Kiandra, have you had any experiences with colorism in this business?
Not recently, not in my professional career. I did used to funny story. I used to sing with a cover band before I moved out to LA. I was singing with the cover band and we would go all over the East Coast. So it's like South, it's Alabama, it's Florida, it's Georgia, it's, and sometimes we would perform at weddings and things like that and the places they would put us in for us to get changed and for us to eat. Or either sometimes they wouldn't have our meals and things and they would just kind of treat us a certain way until after we performed. Once we showed them what we had to offer, then it's like, oh my God, we love you guys. We love you guys. And it's like, why is that? Why couldn't you love me when I pulled up out here? It's a thing. So I've definitely felt some colorism type of things, but not from my own people. I haven't personally yet, just like from other races, but not with us.
So frustrating that we break each other down. Like we have like the racism enemy, right? And then amongst ourselves, there's all these subgroups. And I just feel like there's been a lot of that talk. I'm online all the time and I'm reading stuff about, well, you're not really black if you're not all 100% and all these purity tests. And it's just like, I just feel like that's damaging to us as a people. Like we should understand there's different struggles with different shades of blackness because I have seen our darker brothers and sisters being more discriminated against, especially in Hollywood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I say it's funny to me because as of late, sometimes in certain like leads of like movies, they typically will only go dark skin if the role is black.
Then there's that happens.
Which is interesting to me.
Yeah.
People always say this, but you think about the leads, you got Idris Elba, Chadwick Boseman, all of these people that typically are being casted as the lead for something. That's why I'm like, you can't, everybody's job as a creative is not to be a civil rights movement. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you're creating something, you're creating something. When I'm making a song, I'm not making a song to do anything other than tell the truth about how I'm feeling at that time. Now, whether it be Kenya Barris, whether it be anybody, him being the color that he is, writing something that's true to his life, it's going to involve his family who are that same color. It's not because I'm not trying to put a darker skinned person in the show. You know, so it's just like confusing to me, man. And again, like you said, it's us accepting those things and then projecting it onto each other. But you know, man, that's why it's got to be our mission to have conversations like these, create projects like that, and yeah, man, just continue to educate ourselves and others.
That's what it is, educating ourselves for sure.
I love it. I love that there's like we all represent something different here.
Yeah.
You know, and
we're still black. Still black.
Right.
Maybe there's a hashtag we can start. Hashtag we're still black.
Still black, right?